Bab Al-Mandab is a narrow strait that connects the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden, sitting between the Horn of Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. Its name, often translated as Gate of Tears, reflects the difficult and sometimes dangerous conditions that sailors historically faced while passing through it. Strong currents, shifting winds, and limited visibility made navigation challenging long before modern technology. Even today, despite advanced systems, it remains a sensitive and tightly watched passage due to its narrow width and constant flow of ships. What makes this route especially important is its role as a key link in the global shipping network, connecting the Mediterranean through the Suez Canal to the Indian Ocean. A large portion of global trade, including oil and manufactured goods, moves through this corridor every day. Because it sits near regions that have experienced conflict and piracy, it has become a focal point for international naval patrols. At times, tensions or attacks in this area have forced ships to reroute, showing how quickly a single disruption here can ripple across global trade. If traffic were fully blocked, vessels would be forced to travel around the southern tip of Africa, adding weeks to journeys and sharply increasing costs. The Suez Canal is a man-made waterway in Egypt that connects the Mediterranean Sea directly to the Red Sea, creating one of the most important shortcuts in global trade. Before its construction in the 19th century, ships traveling between Europe and Asia had to sail all the way around Africa, making trade slower and more expensive. The canal changed global trade patterns almost instantly, turning Egypt into a central point in international shipping. It runs through flat desert terrain and, unlike many canals, allows ships to pass straight through at sea level without locks. Today, it handles a large share of global cargo, including energy supplies and everyday consumer goods. Its importance became especially clear during the moment when a single grounded ship blocked the canal, stopping traffic and delaying billions of dollars worth of goods. That event showed how dependent the world has become on this one narrow route. Beyond economics, the canal has also been tied to political tensions and control over trade, making it not just a shortcut, but a symbol of global connection and vulnerability. The Turkish Straits consist of two connected waterways, the Bosporus and the Dardanelles, which link the Black Sea to the Mediterranean. These narrow channels pass directly through Turkey and form a natural boundary between Europe and Asia, with the city of Istanbul stretching across both sides. For centuries, these straits have been among the most contested waterways in the world, as controlling them meant controlling trade and military access between inland regions and open seas. Empires rose and fell while trying to secure this passage, and its importance has never fully faded. Today, it remains vital for countries around the Black Sea, especially for exporting grain, oil, and other key resources to global markets. The waterways are narrow and busy, requiring careful coordination to prevent accidents. Even a small disruption can slow traffic significantly. In times of political tension, control over access to these straits can influence entire regions, making them not only a trade route, but also a strategic pressure point in global affairs. The Strait of Gibraltar is the narrow passage between southern Europe and northern Africa that connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Atlantic Ocean. At its narrowest point, it is only about 14 kilometers wide, yet it carries a constant stream of ships moving between major global trade routes. For centuries, it has served as a gateway between continents, allowing goods, people, and cultures to move between Europe, Africa, and beyond. Its strategic position has made it highly valuable, as control over this passage means control over entry into the Mediterranean. Historically, it has been a key location for naval power and trade dominance. Today, it continues to play a major role in shipping, energy transport, and even underwater communication cables that connect continents. The area is also known for strong currents and busy traffic, requiring careful navigation. Its importance goes beyond trade, as it represents one of the most significant natural connections between major regions of the world. The Strait of Malacca is one of the busiest and most important shipping lanes on Earth, located between Malaysia and Indonesia. It connects the Indian Ocean to the South China Sea, making it a critical route for trade between Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. A large share of the world's oil and gas shipments passes through this narrow corridor, especially supplies heading toward major economies like China, Japan, and South Korea. Because of its location, it has been a center of trade for centuries, supporting the growth of powerful port cities and economic networks. Today, it remains just as important, if not more, as global trade continues to expand. However, its narrow width and heavy traffic create constant pressure, with ships moving through tight spaces in large numbers. In the past, piracy and security threats have added to concerns in the region, making it one of the most closely monitored waterways. If this route were significantly disrupted, many ships would have to take longer alternative paths, increasing costs and affecting supply chains across multiple continents. The Panama Canal is a man-made waterway that cuts across the narrow land bridge of Panama, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Before it existed, ships had to travel all the way around South America, a journey that was long, dangerous, and expensive. When the canal was completed in the early 20th century, it transformed global shipping almost overnight. Using a system of locks, ships are raised and lowered across different elevations, allowing them to cross land efficiently. This engineering system remains one of the most impressive achievements in modern infrastructure. Today, the canal continues to play a central role in global trade, especially for goods moving between the Americas and Asia. It has been expanded in recent years to accommodate larger vessels, increasing its capacity and keeping it relevant in a changing world. However, its reliance on freshwater for its lock system means it can be affected by drought and climate conditions, which has already led to reduced traffic at times. This shows how even a man-made choke point can be vulnerable to natural limits. The Danish Straits are a group of narrow waterways between Denmark and Sweden that connect the Baltic Sea to the North Sea. Even though they are less famous than some other choke points, they are extremely important for countries around the Baltic, including Germany, Poland, Finland, and the Baltic states. These passages have shaped trade in Northern Europe for centuries, controlling the movement of goods, naval traffic, and access to wider global shipping routes. Historically, Denmark benefited from this position by taxing ships that pass through, showing how valuable control over a narrow waterway could be. Today, the straits remain essential for the movement of energy supplies, commercial cargo, and military vessels. Their importance has grown further as security concerns in Northern Europe and the Baltic region have become more serious. Because so many countries depend on access through these channels, the Danish Straits may look quiet on a map, but in strategic terms, they carry weight far beyond their size. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most critical choke points in the world, located between the Arabian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. It serves as the main exit route for oil exports from major producers in the Middle East, meaning a significant portion of the world's energy supply passes through this narrow passage every day. Because there are very few alternative routes for moving this volume of oil and gas, even a small disruption can quickly affect global markets and energy prices. Its narrow width and heavy traffic make it both efficient and highly vulnerable at the same time. Over the years, the strait has been at the center of global attention, especially due to tensions between Iran and the United States. These have included naval confrontations, ship seizures, and repeated threats to restrict or shut down access. At times, vessels have been targeted or detained, showing how easily normal shipping can be interrupted. These incidents have made the strait one of the most closely watched waterways in the world. In more recent periods, tensions have escalated further, with attacks on ships, increased military presence, and moments where transit was reduced or avoided entirely. During these times, shipping companies have adjusted routes or paused movement, and oil prices have reacted almost immediately. This direct link between local conflict and global markets shows how fragile the system can be when so much depends on one narrow passage. The Strait of Hormuz has become more than just a trade route. It shows how control over a small geographic point can influence global power and economic stability. There is growing concern that this conflict here could set a precedent, where more nations begin using strategic waterways as leverage. If that pattern spreads, it could reshape how countries view choke points, making global trade routes more uncertain and less secure in the future.